Hello, everyone, and welcome. It is Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022, and we're here for the 94th in a row Knowledge Bolide Hangout, sponsored by Topher Spin Meteorites. Really glad you joined us today. We have some really rare meteorites we're talking about tonight. The subject for today is carbonaceous meteorites, but only 3 classes. We're talking about the CB, CHs, and CRs. These are very rare meteorites, very expensive meteorites. So we're going to do our best during show and tell to show you some of our examples. And we also have some videos that we're going to show as well. Just a couple days ago on the 28th, so 2 days ago, there was a meteorite burnt day that we should need to recognize. Anyone know what meteorite fell 1 year ago on the 28th of February, just 2 days ago?
Winchcombe.
Winchcombe, that is correct. All right, so this is the sample of Winchcombe that I have today, and I'm actually going to take it out.
Ooh.
It was purchased for a client.
It is
huge. It was purchased for a client, and it is leaving my house soon.
Oh, wow.
Oh, the weight on this is 0.7 grams.
Wow.
Sure. Unobtainium.
Yeah, let me see if I can hold it a little bit better. Yeah, the white gloves are not really helping, but you can see it has some really nice tiny chondrules and CAIs in there. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have fusion crust.
But still worth the price of a truck.
Yeah, exactly. This is Winchcombe. This is 0.7 grams of Winchcombe, and it's the value of this is $4,000 a gram. So that's $2,800.
Yeah, a 1.7 gram piece sold at Christie's auction for $12,600.
Wow. That is definitely a little over the asking price. But I figured I wanted to show you this as well. This is some soil from the driveway of the Wilcox family. And Ben, you have a little bit of information about Winchcombe to share with us. Do you mind?
Well, yeah. Not only did the family find the pieces and the soot in their driveway, but there was some in their neighbor's driveway that was also recovered. And one of them was actually an asphalt driveway, and as friable as that material is, it actually left a dent in the asphalt driveway, and they cut out that section and sent it to the museum. And as Topher's specimen there shows you, it's really fine grained. It's got really small chondrules, refractory inclusions, and abundant hydrated minerals. And even the sulfides are nickel bearing. So it's a really unusual material to start with. But what's also interesting is it's very similar to the material that they took off the asteroid Ryugu and brought back to Earth.
Awesome.
So Ben, does that qualify as a hammerstone where it left a dent in the asphalt?
I'm going to say yes, because at least with the Wilcox family, they heard rattling the night of the fall, and they came out and found them in the driveway in the morning. I'm thinking that, well, they're friable enough maybe not to penetrate the roof, but they hit the roof, caused the rattling, and rolled down onto the driveway. That's supposition, but I'm going to stay with it.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
I know that Hannah was the girl that was at home when she heard it, and yeah, just a really cool story. I gotta let you guys know that there is a video on our YouTube channel of me interviewing the family about 2 months after the event happened. So really cool video and a cool family. If I remember correctly, in the MetBull, it's listed with a total known weight of like 600 grams.
602.
602 grams. Yep. And it's hypothesized that, well, based on the trajectory, the math and everything, that there is a total known, or the total mass entering the atmosphere. Does anyone know where they plotted that at?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think that number is about 6 kilos. So
Wow.
about 6 kilos entered our atmosphere, and because it's as friable material as it is, water bearing, all that kind of stuff, it's not an iron or a stony iron or stony. It really ablated and was destroyed by the atmosphere. So of the 6 kilos that entered, only 600 grams were survivable, and pretty much all were recovered. Yeah. It was cool. They did the math, and they projected that 6 kilos entered and 600 grams fell to the ground, and lo and behold, 602 grams were found. So whether it's luck or good science, I don't know.
Did anybody come forward saying they witnessed the bolide?
Oh, there were
Yeah.
like 1,000 people that witnessed it as far away as Ireland and Scotland, that made reports to the Fireball network there in Britain.
Yeah, and it's captured on some cameras as well. So yeah, and I just saw a cool piece of art. There's a limited edition of 20 pieces of this art of Fireball over Winchcombe, whatever the title was. That's what I'll call it. But it's a depiction and painting of the Winchcombe event. So
By Tom Hughes.
What's that?
By Tom Hughes.
There you go. Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
Another person in the Meteorite community that we love so much. So
Being
Thanks.
Put a link
carbonation-
to the video with the interview in the description so people can quickly find it and check it out.
yeah, absolutely.
Being that it was carbonaceous, would it have had a unique colored trail or flame behind it as it was
Well,
entering?
No, we've kind of discussed this in the past, and Pat did a really good job on that, talking. It was more of not the content of the meteorite causing the color of the meteor event, but
Yeah.
the components of the air surrounding the bolide event that make the bolide event a certain color. So
Right.
well, speaking of our good friend Pat, we are going to go to Pat for a little carbonaceous show and tell.
Howdy, also, I called dibs on CR this week. So this beautiful end cut is a CR2. This is Erg Chech 003. So this was a bycatch from looking for Erg Chech 002, and shows some beautiful chondrules and quite a bit of metal too, which is characteristic of CRs. And then I had one other one to show. This is a CR3. This is the CR3. There aren't any others. So as we remember from last time, metamorphic type 3 is unmetamorphosed. Type 2 has been altered by liquid water. So this one has not been altered by liquid water. This is a reasonably large piece, as you can see from the scale cube there. And this is actually a fragment. And on this side, it shows some of the chondrules, but the contrast is not good, so it's a little blown out. But that's pretty close to unobtainium. There's less than a kilo of this stuff in existence, and there aren't even any of these in Antarctica. Back to you, Trevor.
Wow, they haven't found any of that in Antarctica at all.
Nope.
That's a surprise.
Jeez. Huh.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
NWA 12474.
Hey, Pat,
That's
could you
good.
cross polarize your light?
I will.
Oh, yeah.
There
That's
you go.
cool.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Good catch, microscope guy.
Great image.
Is it possible to see the Erg Chech one more time? Erg Chech
Absolutely.
003.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that is such a pretty meteorite.
Yeah.
It is a pretty meteorite. there's very, very beautiful orange coloration
Wow.
in a lot of the chondrules. And the metal is in very pretty little bits. You know, down here, each of those are little individual metal grains. It's a very pretty meteorite. This one was a gift from my good friend Shun-Si Yang. This is one of the ones that they brought to science. Very, very beautiful meteorite. Oh, and it is an end cut too. And I know some people love to see the outside. So
Yeah,
if you're
look at
rifling through the bins at Tucson with your reflected cross-polarized light thing, and you see one that looks like this on the outside, buy it.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, and the colors on that one, I don't have enough CR material to know if the colors that I'm seeing on Erg Chech 003, if those are the colors of CR material. The oranges and the swirl is just beautiful. Is that standard for CR material?
Yeah, it's actually reasonably typical of CR meteorites. They have a very, very different physical look than the other classes of meteorites, and even amongst the carbonaceous chondrites, they're, you know, we oftentimes mix up CV and CK and think that one is one type and it turns out to be the other, but CRs are fairly unique.
Awesome. And you know what? I think I'm going to take the time right now to show off mine. So give me 1 second. And Pat, just like you, I was recipient of the generosity of Dr. Yang. So
Yes.
he's very, very supportive of the Knowledge Bolide and likes to support us with giving us hard to get samples. So he wanted me to have this so I could show it to the Knowledge Bolide crew.
Oh my goodness, you guys are killing me.
It's really funky looking stuff.
Yes, it is.
And you can see the metal flakes in there right at like 8 o'clock.
There's even a chondrule right near the center, just a little left of center, that's actually double armored.
Yes.
2 layers of armoring in there.
Wow.
I think that's
Oh
it right
yeah, I
there.
see it.
So is the orange color in some of those chondrules, is that the native material or is that a consequence of weathering?
I don't know for certain. I wouldn't be at all surprised, but what it's a weathering thing. Because when trollite corrodes, it makes a color surprisingly similar to that.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely stunning.
Yeah,
No.
it is beautiful material, finished on one side, not the other. But really, this piece shows off that metal tremendously well.
Beautiful.
And guys, while we are showing the love for our friend and Knowledge Bolide supporter, Dr. Yang, we want to send our love to you and your beautiful wife, I'm assuming, and congratulations, hopefully, on the safe delivery of your first child. So we know you're very excited about that, and hope it all goes well.
Yeah.
Yes, June. Congratulations, and hope everything goes well.
All right, thank you, guys. Hey, Oz, what do you have there, buddy?
This is NWA 6992. Sorry about my camera.
That's okay. For you, we'll make do, man. That's wow. Look at all that metal
This is
in there.
just chock full of metal. This is 25.4 grams.
Nice.
But it is that same color.
Wow. So that's CR material as well. So we're seeing the exact same color,
CR2.
and that has a lot of metal.
It's amazing.
Awesome. Oz, thank you very much, man. Good having you on board, man. Yeah.
All
We
right.
love Oz on with us.
I didn't know I had it. I just looked and I said, shit, I got one.
When we were in Tucson recently, we were able to see some amazing meteorites and purchase and hold and photograph a lot of them. So I'm going to be having a post Tucson live sale coming up on just in a little bit. It's going to be on the 12th of this month on a Saturday. So I welcome you all to join. for two reasons. If you're interested in buying meteorites, by all means, but if you're interested in just seeing a high quality show and tell of meteorites, it's going to be probably 4 hours of me and this light box showing you meteorites and offering them for sale in the same high caliber that I did during the show and tell. So if you're interested in seeing some of these meteorites, some other meteorites, and I'm not really sure I haven't put the full list together, but these are definitely potentials. If you just want to take a look at some meteorites and see what kind of price tags they go for, by all means, stop on by the live sale. Follow us on Facebook to find out exactly how to attend the sale. We are now going to take a little look at a video submission from our crew member in Croatia, Damjan, and he is introducing us to Isheyevo.
Greetings from Croatia. Even though this week's topic is a bit too upmarket for my normal budget, I still have a single meteorite sample to show off, and I think it's possibly the coolest of the bunch. Isheyevo meteorite is a completely unique one-of-one CH-CBB classification. It's a single 16 kilogram stone find from the year 2003. I'm happy I was able to get this tiny 1/2 gram slice. As you can see, the material is very metal rich with embedded tiny chondrules, CAIs and mineral grains. For me, two things make Isheyevo especially interesting. First is the overall structure showing very obvious layers. As far as I know, this could be the best example of an asteroidal sedimentary rock. The theory is that a large impact vaporized the surface material that then condensed in orbit and again deposited, partially size-sorted, on the asteroid's surface. The other interesting thing are two different CAI populations, one of which is distinct to the ones found in other carbonaceous chondrites. The most fascinating of these are bluish, high-refractory, hebonite-rich CAIs. I have identified multiple in my slice.
That's cool.
They are no larger than 100 microns. These are indeed some of the most beautiful and possibly also the oldest inclusions that I have. All this makes Isheyevo one of my favorite meteorites. I hope you've enjoyed this short segment and wish you a wonderful hangout.
Wow, that was fantastic, Damjan. Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
That was super cool. Those photographs of the hibonite-rich CAIs or inclusions is really, really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. The knowledgeable like crew is strong. That's all I'm going to tell you. We're a strong crew. That's amazing.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man. Well, this is a meteorite that has a little bit of a story to it. I do not own this. This belongs to the Comet Shop, as the video will narrate. But when I went into Tucson, I visited one of my Russian friends, and he was so proud to run to his secret stash, grab this and shove it in my hands just to challenge me to identify it. And I failed miserably. You are looking at well over $50,000. This is another absolutely beautiful and super rare meteorite. Is that playing? The class is rare.
Yes.
See if you guys have any guesses whatsoever. It's from Chile. It's a carbonaceous. It is a Bencubbinite. You're looking at Sierra Gorda 010, I believe. Let's zoom in on that.
Wow.
It's a mega chunk of a rare meteorite.
We are at the Comet Shop, and they have a bunch of really good stuff. Carbonaceous, this Bencubbinite, a G class, and of course, they're known for their palisite work as well. Yeah, always want to give a little shout out to our friends in the meteorite community, and it made me feel silly not having any idea what I had in my hand or how much it was worth. Yeah. After you told me the price, yeah. After you know the price, you hand it back very carefully. make sure. Yeah. So that's a fun thing to do, them handing you weird stuff. A real famous meteorite in the classifications that we're talking about today is Gujba. It's kind of like the most beautiful touchstone meteorite, the most unique, rare looking one. And it's actually, it's not affordable, but it's out there to be purchased. So a lot of times you don't see a rough stone or a half stone. So that's why I included this one. You can see down in this corner here, see these metal blebs, round metal blebs are already coming through, which I think is pretty interesting. But this piece is to drool over.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Right.
That's that.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird when you first, this is Jules' personal slice that she just got. It is absolutely gorgeous and really shows unique characteristics to it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, just not the slice in particular, I'm saying, but just Gujba in general.
Yeah, the white chondrules contrast so beautifully with the metal beads.
It's very hard to photograph and very difficult to photograph.
Yeah, and because as Jules says, it's a challenge to photograph because look at the difference lighting makes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, obviously these are two different sides, but you can see what a difference the lighting and I believe I was actually playing with polarized lighting here. But all the silicas are in between those metal big chondrules, or I'm not sure if that's the right term for them. But this is a little video I shot of the piece before I sent it to Jules because I had to.
Wow.
Congratulations, Jules. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
amazing.
It's an awesome piece. I don't ever get sick of looking at it ever.
It is remarkable. Congratulations very much.
Thank you very much.
They do get bigger. Now, this one is unique, and I'll tell you, well, you can already see something a little bit unique about it, hopefully, and I'll talk about it in the video. Yeah. We are looking at 142 grams of Gujba, Bencubbinite, and what's super special about this one is, thank you, Marissa, the inclusions that are normally white are reddish pink on this one. Super cool. And look, there's Marissa reflecting in it. That smile's worth $1 million, folks. You can own this meteorite for a lot less. Yeah. Howdy, Marissa. Yeah. So that was one that we were really lucky and fortunate to see down in Tucson. It belongs to Mark Lyon, 142 gram Gujba, and just absolutely remarkable. And I'm not sure if Mike has it planned or if he even knows, but I would love to, by the end of the Hangout, learn why this one has such orange and different colored inclusions that we're seeing there versus there.
yeah.
Spoiler alert, it's a mystery to me too.
Oh, dang. Well, we got some meteorite research to do then.
Well, I have a crackpot theory.
Okay.
Oh, I'll take it.
Pat, what you got, man?
Well, I'm guessing that it may well be rust staining. If you look at Jules' piece, the white chondrules have in the rim, there are some orange areas that appear to be coming from the outside and going in. So possible it could just be Jules is a slice from deeper in the meteorite, and that other one is a slice from closer to the surface.
Like I said, I don't know, but that's a good hypothesis. You'll see on this one, it actually shows, let me get my tool. It actually shows a mixing of the colors right here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's from the interior of the thing. So I'm not, and here we actually have on this one leaching in from both sides.
Mm-hmm. And the three pieces on the right, you can see that it's coming in from one side as well. So I don't know, it's just an idea.
Yeah, well, we're all about discussing things here. I thought that was a pretty interesting question. Well, We're going to switch gears into Meteorite 101 now with our deep dive into Carbonaceous 202. So I'm going to turn the reins over to our resident genius and geologist, Mike Kelly, to take us through the CR clan, please.
Evening, everybody.
Hey, Mike.
So we are talking about a clan here. So these are all CR clan chondrites, and it does contain the CRs, the CHs, and the CBs as far as down the group level. So that's just shown on this chart here, which means that they do all have a interesting link to each other. So when you look at clans of meteorites, so they have enough things in common that they form from a similar region in the solar nebula. And yet there's enough individual differences between them that they can be split up into those different groups down there. So looking at the clan level, you get the O isotopic ratio are all relatively the same. So here you can see the CRs and the CHs, and they form two distinct groupings, but they are very close to each other as far as the slope of the lines. The other really remarkable thing about this clan is these, when you look at the nitrogen 15 versus the nitrogen 14 atomic weights, these have the highest nitrogen of any meteorite out there. And you're talking like ratios off by like 1,500 to 1.
Wow.
Whereas almost all the other meteorites are like negative 50 to positive 90 as far as the 15 correlation to the 14 nitrogen. So these things are really kind of off there on their own, and it's not overly well known on why they're that high in nitrogen 15 versus nitrogen 14. But they are, that's one of their distinctive characteristics. They also have a lot of the same minerals in there. So the matrices in all of these meteorites are very hydrous matrices, with the exception of the Bencubbinites. And they also have bulk compositions that are relatively the same. So when you look at all the metal in all these different meteorites, and these are all high in metal content, they all have a similar nickel to cobalt ratio to each other. And it's also kind of different against all the other meteorites out there. And it's very kind of similar to the ratio that they think the overall solar nebula has. So yeah, again, they all group together, and then if you break them down, you start getting into the groups. So if you go to the next slide there.
I will, Mike, I have one question for you. I hate
Sure.
to interject. I just think it's an interesting thing, because if I can just remember one thing, which I hope to do, that the CR clan has remarkably high nitrogen content. That's a really good standout fact. I wanted to know if you could explain to me this chart over here a little bit. I see the CRs and I see the CHs being blue and orange, but it's titled Gujba, but I don't see where Gujba plots on here, or am I missing something? Is it
Sure?
the
So
X's?
yeah, it's the orangish yellow X's are the actual plots, individual points for Gujba. So this was pulled off of the MetBull, which if they do oxygen ISO for it, the chart will be posted there. And what you can see is, yeah, along the blue line, so that's the slope line for the CRs, and you can see the CBs kind of plot along that line, and then you have the orange line, which is the CH chondrites. So you can see that they are obviously on a slightly different slope. But yeah, the CCAM line, that's the carbonaceous chondrite line, and you have the upper one on there, it's the TFL. That's the terrestrial fractionation line. That's where all the things that plot along, like the Earth and the lunars, would end up as far as the slope goes.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, certainly. These were just a couple more facts on the clan ties. So again, we talked about that kind of hydrous matrix, right? So you get a lot of the phyllosilicates forming inside of the matrix, but the actual chondrules themselves have a very diverse nature to them. Some of them are anhydrous, which means they never saw any water alteration and they don't contain water-bearing minerals. And it swings all the way to the other extreme, where there's also chondrules in there that are composed of very hydrous minerals. So there was diverse formation in both the chondrules, and then when it was all put together, it was kind of put together in a very aqueous matrix.
Weird.
And the other kind of odd thing too is, how do you form something that looks like this, which, like you said, Gujba is probably in the running for, maybe one of the most unique and beautiful meteorites out there. It looks so different than all the other meteorites. And one of the thinkings there are that these aren't formed from like first generation chondrules, right? So these might be the result of you form planetesimal bodies and then you run two CR bodies into each other, either in a still semi-melted state or a hypervelocity impact high enough to make like a vapor plume, like Damian was talking about, and then you get these forming as a secondary product from that plume of vapor. So you get metal-rich vapor, and you get these metal blebs forming metal chondrules, basically. Because I know you said, "Hey, is chondrule a good term to use for those class?" And it is. They're little metal chondrules.
Awesome, great. So when I see on there that theories include, that obviously implies that we don't have the definite answer, that science is still researching.
No, yeah. There's still options out there. There isn't an overall consensus. There's a lot of experimenting done to try to recreate this type of structure, but it's a lot of theoretical modeling to try to come up with and make these metal blebs and the silicates and get the right balance and the right temperatures and everything else. Because even when we talk about the CBs, I'll talk about it a little bit. There's CBAs and CBBs, and they're related, but they have different compositions. So how do you then take that model and make it even more complex and not just say, okay, how do I form these blebs, but how do I then differentiate them by size and cause them to do different things? But looking at the CR chondrites, these are named after Renazzo. So this is old meteorite, 1824. It was a nighttime fall that amounted in about 10 kilograms of recovered mass. So a decent size. Things that are interesting about the CRs is when you look at the solar ratio of magnesium versus silicate, these are right about at that solar bulk composition line. They do have lots of large porphyritic chondrules in them. About 50% volume of the meteorite will be chondrules. And then you got a decent amount of metal in the matrix. Again, we talked about the whole clan throughout the entire CR clan. You're talking high metal volumes with the CRs being 5 to 8. The lowest out of the CRs, CIs, and CBs, but still 5 to 8% is pretty high for carbonaceous chondrites.
Yeah.
You kind of talked about the distinguished feature of a lot of the chondrules are layered chondrules. They're armored. So on the outside of the chondrule, you'll have iron, nickel rims around the edges of the chondrules. And they do have a very fine hydrated matrix with what they call dark inclusions in there. So there'll be little chunks of dark material spattered throughout there. And one of the cool things about these were they found xenon isotopes inside the CRs, which might be the first evidence of pristine stardust that has been unaltered sitting inside of a meteorite. And that was Reynolds and Turner did that in 1964. So they've been studied for a long time, and they're very interesting meteorites. I threw down the two notables being Renazzo because it's a type fall, and NWA 801 is probably, maybe the pedigree looker out of the group as far as tons of metal rimmed armored chondrules and beautiful dark matrix. Erg Chech 003 gives it a run for its money, I think. I got the folder sitting next to each other, and I can't tell which one I like better. Down at the bottom, just throw some Winchcombe humor in there for Britain. Mind the gap, right? So CRs are kind of odd. There's a lot of CR2s, 180 of them. There is the only one CR3, which Pat showed. Then there's a big gap. There's no 4s or 5s. And then there's CR6s and 7s. So we're missing those middle altered metamorphosed petrologies that compose the middle of the group.
That's interesting.
Looking at the CBs. So the CBs are named after Bencubbin. It is not a type fall; it is a type find. It was found in 1930, and of the types, it's pretty large. It was 54 kilograms for the first mass that was found, and then years later, they went back to the area and twice in 1959, and then also in 1974, they found 2 additional masses that brought another almost 80 kilograms out. So there's a fair amount of this material.
Wow.
Like when it first came out, it was originally thought that it was either a Mesosiderite or some sort of ungrouped stony. So it wasn't even in the chondrites. It was thought to be an achondrite. And ironically enough, if you go to the Smithsonian Museum, their piece of Bencubbin is still labeled as an ungrouped stony iron. So they haven't changed the sign in all those years.
Wow.
as I mentioned, they do break down into two subgroups. So you got the CBAs, which there are relatively more of, with 8. And you have the CBBs, which are fewer with just 5 of them. And the main difference is the size of the metal and silicate clasts. So in the CBAs, you're talking centimeter size, and in the CBBs, you're talking millimeters and submillimeter sized.
The 2 Bencubbinites that have been found in Arizona were both CBAs. So who can name both of them?
Grapevine Mesa.
That's one. The other one.
Gosh, I just.
I know the other one.
Chris
It was
got it.
found in 2002.
Fountain Hills. Is that what Chris said?
Yes.
Awesome.
Boom.
Still looking for that one.
Yeah.
Good luck.
And while you're on the subject of Fountain Hills is kind of interesting because we say they're a clan and they're all kind of related. So Fountain Hills is interesting in the fact that it's got kind of less metal than some of the other CBs. And the chondrules are more in line with like the CR type chondrules than the other CBs. So that's one of those ones where you kind of show some transitional nature to it.
Well, the Fountain Hills one was only 60 grams, so they had less to work with also.
Yeah, so talk numbers again. The CB is a very small group. A lot of them are small members. Again, there's 8 CBAs, 5 CBBs, and just 8 that were never pushed to one of those 2 subgroups. So you're not talking about a lot of available material in there. And I listed Bencubbin being the type fall, Gujba being the only fall in the group. I'm sorry, the type find. Gujba being the only fall out of all of them, and has got good looks. And like Topher mentioned, it is available, though it is pricey material. And then Grapevine Mesa, just because that's the newest find, and it is also currently kind of available. Looking at the CHs, these aren't named after anything really. CH stands for chondrite high metal. And so these have the highest metal out of any of the chondrites. They were surpassed by the Bencubbinites. So the Bencubbinites will have more in there. So these are high metal for the Cs. They are, the first one studied was Allen Hills 85085. And that was the first to get put in the group. And what's interesting about these ones are you're looking at the tiniest chondrules out of any of the chondrites out there with 0.02 millimeter chondrules as far as the size goes. So they are really, really small. The other neat thing about these meteorites is there's pretty much no matrix in between those chondrules. It's just chondrules stuck to more chondrules. So these are all CH3s as far as them being pristine and little matrix and no alteration. And it's a very small group. There's only 28 members total in this entire group. So I got down Allen Hills 85085 as the first, although you can't have it. And I have Sao 290 as the second one because it's a decent sized find, and if you're very lucky, you'll find it available. It does pop up on market every once in a while.
Well, thank you very much, Mike. Great job
no
once
problem.
again.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you, Mike.
As you can see, there's a wealth of knowledge, but also a wealth of unknowns about these, the CR clan. And so it was really good to learn more about them, learn that we can call the metal class in Gujba chondrules and not be mocked. So thank you very much. Really appreciate that. We're actually going to kick it right back to Mike because he is the type collector to the stars, has a bunch of these to show off.
Yeah, so I did want to show off, and I guess I'll start and work my way backwards. So there were 28 CH3s, and I wanted to take a chance to show you 2 of them. Here's NWA 5130. Again, all of these are very small pieces based on what's available. And again, these have such tiny little chondrules, you really can't make them out in there. You're talking 0.02 millimeters. So they're really not much to look at, but they are interesting to have considering there's only 28 of them. This is the second one that I have, which is NWA 470. And again, if you take a look at it, you really can't see much in the matrix at all. It's kind of a muddy, uninteresting looking stone. Moving on to the CBs, these are more interesting.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, these do fall into two subtypes. So this happens to be the one and only CBB you can get. Out of the 5, 4 of them are Antarctics. And this is HOD 237. So you can see this has those little millimeter size bits of silicate and metal blebs.
Wow, that's a rare one.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a CBA. This is a CBA as far as the individual piece it was that was found. This is not coming out of the case because this is Almahata Sitta MS 181. So this is CBA within the Uralite parent body.
That is super cool.
Yeah, that's unobtainium.
And you could see it does have metal and silicate nature to that piece, even though it is probably like 0.05 grams.
Mike, stay on that one for 1 second, please.
Sure, certainly.
I want to just a little bit of clarification so I don't want to confuse people. Almahata Sitta was classified as a Uralite, but there's a lot of different lithographies in there. It's like a rubble pile, and that's why there can be Bencubbinite material devised out of the Almahata Sitta. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's very accurate. And Almahata Sitta was great because they marked and kept information on every single piece they found, and they found like thousands of little tiny pieces. So they are still sorting through all that material and basically doing a classification on each of the pieces because they did figure out it's a rubble pile and they want to know more about it. So they're finding all sorts of cool things in there. Carbonaceous ungrouped, ordinary chondrite pieces, enstatite chondrite pieces. But yeah, overall it did get a Uralite classification.
Awesome.
And
Get out of jail card is the phrase. Variation in the parent body.
Yeah, a quick aside, Almahata Sitta was super important to us in that it was the first one that we really proved was a rubble pile, not a well-incorporated thing. And because most all of our meteorite research and asteroid research money is coming out of the asteroid defense budget, knowing things like, is it a solid body or is it a rubble pile of stuff held together with static electricity are super important things to know.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yep. That's awesome.
Good points. This is the largest of my CBs. This is NWA 4025. Like Topher was saying, they're not cheap. They're not easy to come by. So that's as big as it gets for me. I like this piece because it's actually an individual, and it's the only individual I own of the CBs. So I thought that was pretty neat. It's survived me resisting sawing it in half.
Surprised not a thin section of that one already.
Yep. This is if you're talking Bencubbinites, you got to have the original. So we'll get this to focus. Come on, there it is.
Nice.
So this is Bencubbin. This is obviously razor thin, but it also shows those larger CBA type centimeter size metal class and silicate class to it.
Cool.
Oh, nice piece.
Yeah, the namesake of the Bencubbinite family.
And then to finish it out, my smallest piece to show today. This is Renazzo. Renazzo, you just really can't find. It's very, very hard to come across a piece of that for sale.
From 1824?
Yeah, it's old.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive that you have that, because I was looking through the meteorites and I was like, wow, I wonder how hard it is to get this one. Of course you have it.
Yeah, that's one of the harder ones of the types to come across. And yeah, if you do find it, scoop it up at any size.
Never take it out.
Yeah.
No, that's that for me, that's big enough to take out and play with the scope every once in a while.
Good for you. Be careful with it, man.
Drop it in a pile rug and you'll never find it again.
He's a scientist. He can't help it.
Yeah, they gotta be handled. They gotta be looked at. They gotta be enjoyed. So.
Awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome.
Good stuff, Michael.
Thank you so much for showing those off.
Yeah, thanks for letting me share.
Yeah, we love the fact that you do show and tell, and that's awesome because we love hearing what we're looking at and why it's important and why it's so rare and special and what to look for as we're looking at these samples to educate our eyes. So well done. I have two I want to show off before we take a little break and then go to some open show and tell. I have two that are small. Okay, so we talked about it earlier. Here you have Grapevine Mesa.
Ooh.
This is
I
the.
thought all that was bought up in Denver at the Denver show.
Yeah, luckily I have
September.
friends who look out for me.
And is that an individual topper?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's 0.2 grams of Arizona's newest Bencubbinite, Grapevine Mesa. And now I think I can get this one out of the case. This is Isheyevo. So this is the one of one. And oh, I don't even have to take it out. You can see it.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And Mike was talking about that a lot of these are hard to get and our samples are small, but the features in these things are tiny, and so they are a joy under the microscope.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I agree with you. That's the one saving grace they have is if they're going to spend that much for them and they're going to be that hard to get, you might as well have something really super cool to look at. Some Isheyevos like this one look like they have rivers in them. And
have you looked for the hibonite rich inclusions in yours, Topper?
I have not because I don't have my microscope set up yet.
Tisk.
Yeah, I actually have a table, microscope stand table coming. It's going to be right over there. Next time you guys join us for a hangout, you'll be able to see my microscope. But more importantly, at any time of the day, I can just scoot over there, scope anything I want, come back here. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. I definitely need to use my microscope a lot more. Hello, Sue. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Figured we check in with you for our monthly segment of what's new in the MetBull.
Awesome. Thanks. So this is the second time I've done this. And the first time that I rolled this out, I didn't mention one thing. I am going to be leaving all of the Antarctica classifications out of my report because there are just so many and there aren't a lot of differences between them. So we're just going to be, looking at the main 6 continents when we look at the report every month. This February was kind of a slow month. I'm not sure about the number. I haven't studied the MetBull long enough to know all the trends, but I can tell you that there were no falls at all the whole month. We had 50 NWAs and then 20 named ones. Of all the finds, there is one that was listed as a fall, but it is or a find, but it's a potential fall. And that is, and I don't want to butcher this name, but it's El Hassan Hamed 002, I think. But it's from Mauritania. And just by the way, we have some for sale. And I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it's an L4. And yeah, so that's the only one that is potentially a fall. They didn't have any irons classified, no pallasites, no howardites. It's kind of a different month from, based on the ones that I have looked at so far. But yeah, so does anybody want to take a guess as to what the smallest known weight of the meteorites was this last month?
For the whole month?
For the whole month, what meteorite had this? What was the weight of the smallest known weight?
Of any one of them?
Yes.
80 grams.
No.
30 grams.
I'll take a stab at 0.3.
Okay, 0.3 is a little small.
Mike is the closest though.
But you are the closest.
Okay. The lowest one was Cliff Wins. I think it was under 10 though,
close.
wasn't it?
It was 8 grams. 8 gram classification. Can you imagine? Yeah. Wow. So the biggest one was 9.18 kilograms. So Another thing too that I forgot to mention, the first month I kind of rolled this out, I looked at the MetBull for a few hours one day. Yeah, kind of a nerd, but I'm married to Topher, so what do you expect? So I had no idea that we actually have classifications on the moon. We have as the location. We have a few with Mars. There's one with the Pacific Ocean as the location. So there are some really strange things in there if you like just take the time to just click around and look. I didn't get bored. I literally, there were so many fascinating things in there. So that's kind of what prompted me to give us a monthly update so we can see what's out there. So, and then you can see, usually they're almost all in Africa, Middle East, and then some in South America. I always think it's kind of strange that we don't see a lot of United States ones because we are definitely classifying a lot of them here. We are, I think, one of the top countries. I mean, besides NWAs and, a few of the African countries, we are right up there. Chile, Canada, United States, we're definitely up there. We have thousands compared to Egypt has like less than 200. So strange. I think it probably is because we might have a little bit more income here and everybody wants their own classification. I know it's really cool. So, but the classifiers are really busy right now. If you want to go to the next slide, you can.
Well, I do, but I wanted to talk about the anomaly that we found on El Hassan Uled Maham.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's classified with a total known weight of like under 500 grams.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at 357 grams of what I have in my drawer with another 200 grams and 300 grams next to it. So I just think it's a little bit weird. I don't know what happened and I don't know whose classification it is. So I don't want to badmouth anyone, but I just thought maybe it was rushed into classification. There's only in the MetBull, it says there's only one piece. Well, that's not true because I have some. And there's other pieces available. So I think the first person who found one to get their single stone to the lab, to get it classified, like I understand that, but they should leave it open for other pieces to be collected and updated. But my wonderment or bafflement comes from, was it rushed through the classification process? And as such, not enough data and documentation was collected to have it classified as a fall, because I wanted it to be classified as a fall. That's a lot more valuable. And
I think everybody expected it to be. Everybody expected it to be classified as a fall too. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what's going on, because it seems like the last month or two, I mean, only in the last 6 months I've been working with you, everyone is literally, when's that getting classified? When's that getting classified?
Yeah, there's some backstory to this one, and I don't know all of the gory details, but typically what happens is, an observed fall is worth considerably more than a find. And so there was information about, well, we saw something in the sky, and then a month later somebody found the rocks, and they just felt that it wasn't enough evidence to tie the visual phenomena to finding the rocks. And total known weight, Daniel addressed this one some time ago. Total known weight can be updated, but it takes takes the effort of somebody to do that and update the total known weight.
Well, it makes me wonder what happened if I sent an email to the classifying scientist telling them I have X amount of weight. Would my name get added? I don't know.
Let me see. So we are on the next slide. And I just wanted to, I'm not going to read through all these. I just kind of wanted to show you guys, just a overall bird's eye view of, what got classified. We had 8 carbonaceous, but no irons. I thought that was kind of strange. And 11 eucrites. We had 4 lunars and 3 Martians. So I'm sure that some of these are going to be coming up over the next few weeks when we have our lunar and Martian hangouts. Any questions for me? Anybody?
I have to ask Sue, I'm sorry, which one was the 8 gram? What classification was worth doing an 8 gram submission for?
Oh, I didn't bring my notes in here with me. I want to say it was I think it's an NWA, and it was like a H or an L, I think. It wasn't anything like a.
Okay, so
I will find out though for sure.
It wasn't like a super rare EH3 or something. It was just somebody classified a small stone. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
The 8 grammer had to give 20% for type specimen, plus they had to make a thin section.
Yeah.
Doesn't leave much.
Yeah.
I
When all
know.
said and done, remember the size of my Winchcombe? That's what.
Oh, wow.
Oh, oh.
But hey, they have a main mass.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you very much, Sue. I appreciate you sending us through an update of February on the MetBull activity. Thank you.
You're welcome. I want to point
Thanks,
out one
Sue.
more thing. Oh, thank you. You guys like my necklace? Allison made it. I just wanted to point that out because she's so talented.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's all.
wow.
Yeah, Allison did the wire wrap.
Thank you, Allison.
Yeah, you're welcome, Sue.
welcome.
Thank you. Great update.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool segment to have on our show because I have to cut back on some things, and one of the things I've had to cut back on is I don't have time to really search and work the MetBull and like I used to. So it's nice getting these little digests for me, and it's cool because you can look. You know, if you wanted to, you could look on there and go, "Oh wow, there was just a lunar anorthosite classified, approved, and published. I want some of that. Let me go to the MetBull, find out who the main mass holder is, and contact them." So there is a way to get this material if you desire it. So we just had the mystery of the 8-gram classification solved by Pat. Pat, what was it?
So that one is NWA 14578, an ungrouped achondrite.
Oh, I was wrong.
Purchased by Mark Lyon and now in the collection of Frank Thompson and Casper Dahl Finder Up.
Oh, I wanted a full slice.
I'm sure if you peel off enough hundreds, they'll start listening to you.
And the type sample is 20% of the mass, so there's exactly 1.6 grams on deposit.
Well, Pat, thank you so much for clarifying that. I feel badly because Mark's my buddy and I should have known that.
It's, the MetBull is a wonderful source of information. And
All right, guys, that was a good detailed show and tell of a lot of our specific meteorites, and we've been really held to and restrained to what we can show the last few weeks to some very, very rare meteorites. So next week, we're going to open it up for everyone on the crew. Whatever you have, don't care. If you want to show it off, we want to see it. Obviously, we don't want to see it on a webcam. So really professional camera work would be appreciated. But next week is a free for all. And we're going to have a little bit of a free for all to end tonight's show. So let's kick it over to Mr. Pat Brown.
Yeah, just a really quick one. This is, I showed this during our bio break, but I thought, well, I'll show it off too. This is a very pedestrian meteorite. This is Muonionalusta, and it does show some interesting things. This is I think a taenite crystal that's cut right along the crystal. And it's got some interesting lines in it. There's a nice little blob of silicate over here. And sneaky rust already.
Yeah.
So this is why I need the dry box stuff and why I need nitrogen purge. So
yeah,
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we talked on the show yesterday, or it feels like yesterday I was editing it. When we were talking about the irons last week, I kind of made the comment that if you collect irons, you'll be collecting distressed irons soon. And that's just, that just proves it. Even though that one looks like it was etched professionally and possibly even coated, there's still some terrestrialization going on. All right, Mike Kelly, what you got, bud?
Yeah, I had one to show off real quick. So we talked mesos already, and I'll save the rest of the fun stuff for the open show and tell. But this is one of the 7 falls that just arrived today. Dong Ujimqin from China.
Wow. When was that? When was that fall?
What was that? I think that was. I'll have to go pull a date. I'll pull a date and get back to you on that one.
Is it recent or is it?
No, it's a little bit older.
Okay, but that's a Mesosiderite?
That's a Mesosiderite fall, yeah.
Wow.
So this is
I don't know if the
second of 7 falls.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, how many meso falls are there? So 1 of 7?
7 total.
Wow. That is so cool. Yeah, it's kind of hard to decide if you want to show something off now and not show it off next week, but I got a few of them, so I figured I'm going to show this one off to you guys. See, For those that absolutely know off the top of your head or after seeing it, please don't comment. Let's leave it for someone who may have to take a guess at it. Does anyone know what this is? Who doesn't really know what it is?
I know what it is.
Yeah, I think I know too. It's pretty though.
Yeah. All right, let's say it all together. 1, 2, 3. It's
Tiglit.
Tiglit.
Yep.
Rhymes with Piglet.
Oh, another
This-
Aubrite.
Yeah, this is the Tiglit witnessed Aubrite. This is 3.15 grams. But here, this side is definitely pretty, but the other side is the display side.
Every year there's a fall right before Tucson, and this is the one. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
There is the Aubrite fusion crust.
Normally.
Yeah, that's about
That's about as fusion.
$560 worth of Aubrite too.
Yeah, I forget, this is available on my inventory. I forget what I have it listed for, but yeah, this is the primo piece.
The
This is
total
not,
weight on this is pretty small, and they did do a good job of coordinating between the finders on this one. And there was a race to classify it, of course, as the one right before Tucson. But we think the total known weight is less than about 2.5 kilos.
wow.
Gopher, you showed 2 pieces tonight that I'm going to have to hit you up offline.
Yeah, this one is delicately crazy beautiful.
That's one of them. Dibs, everybody, dibs.
Nice. Oh,
Reserve.
yeah, that's been put away in a case all by itself, isolated with the words A+ on it. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us for our hangout. Remember, next week it's going to be a Wild West show of show and tell. Thanks a lot. Have a great week, everyone.
Everybody later on.
Well,
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey,
Bye.
Bye.